Today's guest on the Mental Toughness podcast knows how to call it when it counts. He is the founder of Blind Zebra. He's a veteran sales coach, co-host of the Advanced Selling Podcast, one of the longest running sales podcasts out there. And he trades the mic and the stage for stripes as an NFL umpire, even working Super Bowl 56. We're talking decision making under pressure, toughness, hinge moments, zero excuses. Our guest today is Bryan Neale is in the house. Bryan, my man, thanks for taking time, bud.
Thanks, Dr. Bell. Great to be here, brother.
Yeah, man. Any good spit and rally moments lately?
You know, it's been a fun season so far.
I
Fun
love,
season. We're off to a start, aren't we?
I do love seeing you out there, man. Tell me about the glasses, though.
Those are the ones I wear on the field are company issued.
Hmm.
Um, what's the brand called? The biking brand? They're really popular. Oakley.
Oh
They're
yeah, yeah,
Oakleys,
yeah.
and they formulated them for officiating, which is pretty
Oh,
cool. So they looked at our compare contrast colors, which are essentially white, green, and brown. So ball, shoes, field, lines, and formulated them for outdoor high sun, night and low light evening stuff, and then indoor to remove glare from the lights and stuff like that.
oh,
So
love it,
that's
man.
what I wear them. I love them. Yeah, not prescription. I wear contacts underneath them, but I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
Well, I mean, when you wear those, it looks like, wow, that would make everything a little bit clearer because I think we've all kind of worn those
100%.
type of glasses. So it's cool,
Yep,
man.
that's
But,
what
but
that's what they are. Yeah, especially the amber ones at night, and in a mid low light, they really sharpen up contrast. It's really good, really good.
yeah,
I'm a fan.
nice, man. Well, let's get into it, man. I mean,
Yeah,
8 years old, man. Like, you kind of saw your future that at that time. Pick us up from there, man.
yeah. It was the summertime. My dad, came home from work to take me and my brother to go see the movie Superman, and before we left, he thought it'd be a good idea to set us both up on the counter and let us know that he and my mom were going to get divorced that month, and kind of hit it from there. And I'd always bounced around as a kid. I was in uh, I think five different elementary schools, first 6 years, first six grades. Kind of a new kid, quiet, not a real stereotype here, not like a aggressive boy. Like you'd
Right.
think of a boy as a young man, like aggressive. I wasn't that kid. And so I moved home to we were up in Indianapolis at the time. We moved to my hometown, back home where my mom and dad grew up, to Evansville. And my grandpa signed me up for Little League football. And it became my outlet, dude. It was like I put those pads on and you get to knock the crap out of another kid and get praise for it. And so I had double things going. I had this physical and emotional outlet for my parents splitting up. And I didn't see my dad much. He was, it was every other weekend sort of deal. And my football coaches became father figures to me. They're the guys that would, bust my tail when I needed it busted and praise me when I needed praise. And I just got all that together, got me just in like so deeply emotionally connected to football. Only problem was you could use a sundial to time my 40-yard dash. I
Right.
was concrete shoes, man. I was so slow. And I have three sons now. They play pretty good high school football here in Indianapolis at Cathedral High School, all linemen. And I found out the slowness is genetic. It's like just in the genes, man. I mean, I watch my boys run. I'm like, you trying to run that slow? Like you're going backwards, dude. But
Right.
so went to the coaches and I'm like, hey, I want to stay involved in football. I think I want to volunteer to be an assistant football coach. I'm
And how
not.
how old are you at this point?
Oh, this yeah. So flash forward, I would go I play football, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, all the way up, and I was just like, it was my thing. I loved it, loved it. It was we were really successful up until my senior year. I was always a captain of a team, leadership role, super serious about it. And then that senior year comes and it's over. Couldn't play college football, too slow. I thought about being a volunteer coach, and they're like, you don't want to do that because I wouldn't go into education. I was going to be a
Hmm.
business guy. And they're like, you need to get your officiating license. Like, which I didn't realize at the time. They were like, you kind of have the demeanor for that, which was what they were saying is you're kind of a dork. That's what they were saying, like underneath in the tea leaves. I'm like, yeah, you kind of built that way. And no one really grows up like, man, you know what I'm gonna do when I'm big? I'm gonna be a referee. Like it's kind of a dorky thing to say. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. So Yeah, sent off for to sign up for the rules test. Like this is funny. My first rules test to get my license, I got an 83 out of 100. B minus, 83 out of 100. And then what I don't tell people too often is that the rules test is a 100 question true false open book test. You
Mm,
get 2 hours to take it, and I still miss 17. Like if you want to know what the problem is, there's part of the problem.
nice.
Then that was it. Worked the first game, Bloomington South High School, 1988, and was hooked, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely hooked. Yeah,
You make that transition then to Big Ten.
yeah.
Um, so from there, and like obviously then you have like a vision of where you want to go. When was the NFL like, hey, that's the next level of where I want to be?
Yeah, this came back, so much goes back to my coaches. We were required at my high school every summer, every football player in the program had to write a goal note card down. We had to present them to our coaches. And they had to be time bound, they had to be specific and those sorts of
Hmm.
things. And so I learned to do that as a general practice. I didn't know any better. I just was have to, but I'm like, "Yeah, I like this. Very clear." So after my first season reffing in 1988, I sat down and with a note card, I did what they taught me to do, and I wrote down age-based things. I said I want to referee the state championship by age 31, and then I just started adding increments of 5 years. And then I said I want to be in the Big Ten at 36, NFL at 41, and Super Bowl at 51. Age wise, that's what I was after there. And I didn't know how all that stuff worked. I didn't know how to get into college. I didn't know how to get in the Big Ten. I didn't know how to get in the NFL. I just knew what I wanted at that point, and that came from those coaches too. It was a really, really good gift that they gave me.
So that's one of those. I mean, that's the life lesson. We always talk about life lessons in sports, right? Like that was a
Mm,
life lesson, man, that carried over and had a huge impact.
yeah, 100%. And you don't realize it's a lesson until, after the fact. I was just doing what I was told to do. And,
Mhm.
I didn't know any better. And, I'm a fan of, I love committing things in writing. I'm not overly woo where like, oh, everything you write down comes true. Like people do vision boards. That's great. I think that's really awesome. I do think there's something about putting something in physical form that allows it, gives it more strength, more energy than just like thinking about it vaguely,
Right.
you know.
Yep.
I'm just a fan of it. It just works for me. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
it doesn't do any harm, so why not? Might as well write it down.
Yeah. I'm big in that too, man. I think when you
Yeah,
write it down, you can look at it, you help manifest it,
I
somehow.
agree. I agree. And it's just more fun to think it's all connected.
Hmm.
Yeah, 'cause flash forward, I got I started reffing high school ball and got graduated from college, got a job, and then I'm interested in college, and I go ref some JV D3 in Columbus, Ohio. Most people don't even know Division 3 schools. A lot of them will have JV games on
Yeah.
Monday nights. You know why? It's so the parents don't get pissed that their kids are spending $90,000 a year and the kid's not playing. So they have the freshmen out there. So and then, you just start to find a way and how the path works. And then you get lots of help and keep the goals and all that jazz. So,
Hmm. One of the things I was hoping you could talk about, man, is the Auburn Oregon 2011 championship game.
yeah,
Obviously, I mean, I remember that game as a fantastic game.
mm,
And but there was a tough moment in that game, man. I was hoping
big
maybe you
time.
could unpack that and like, hey, the lesson that came from that one.
I'd love to. I'd love to. There's a tough moment before that no one ever, I don't know if I've ever talked about this publicly.
Oh,
Some people
good.
know me. So I got assigned the dream. Now, I did not have the national championship written on my card, on my
Okay.
vision card. That wasn't part of the deal. It just sort of all lined up that way. But I got the call to referee the BCS national championship game. First time the game was broadcast on ESPN. It had
Hmm.
usually just been an ABC, CBS sort of thing. They've threw it back and forth. 26 million people watching this game, and it was Auburn versus Oregon. It was Cam Newton's last game as a
Yep.
college player. Um, big stage. We're going to be out there in front of a lot of people. So I don't anymore because my knee, I'm trying to keep my knees, but I ran to stay in shape, stay emotionally, physically, fit. Not to the level you do, Dr. Bell, but just jog, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm the week before the game, 2 days before the game, before I left, 2 days before I left for Arizona, I'm jogging down here in Indianapolis. It's cold, it's January, but I was pretty decent at stretching. And all of a sudden, I got a grab, bink, in my hamstring. And if you've ever pulled a hamstring, it grabs you and like
Yeah.
there's no like, oh, that's weird. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it
No,
was
no
a
working that out.
grab.
Yeah.
No, it's different than it gets a little tight. It grabs. And I'm like, oh my God, that did not just happen to me. And I went to a treatment person and she's like, you got a grade one. Not horrible, but I'm like, well, I'm not staying out of this game. So we did a little rehab, a couple days the best we could, worked it out, did all the stuff you're supposed to do, and tried to work it out, doing a hike out there too. And essentially, I peg legged that game. I worked that game with a grade one torn hamstring. Not crazy bad, but
Hmm.
but that was a hinge
Now,
moment for
do
me.
you have
Yeah.
to tell like your team like before you're heading out there at all, or is
They,
that
they
something you
knew.
just
They knew. Yeah,
okay?
I had it, wrapped up, sleeved, and all that stuff. Hamstring, you can't really do much with. You sort of have to
Right.
just like modify. But I thought, you know what? This is my one shot. I got to do this. It's a hinge moment. Like, I could have tapped out. And this is good to know. I think about this for, pro athletes especially. As a high performance minded person, there's this balance of I know myself and I'm self-aware, and is whatever I have going to bring my team down? And I
Hmm.
had that decision to make for sure. And I felt very comfortable that I could move to the level that I needed to move that wouldn't harm the team or my performance. Had that been different, had it been a grade three or something, I definitely would have tapped out from a team perspective, if that makes sense. Like,
Right.
you know,
And what was your role for that game?
I was the umpire. So we're in this game, and the umpire stands. It's a little different than it used to be. It's still the same in college. College, there's 8 officials on a football field. In the NFL, there's only 7. And there's a person that stands behind the linebackers. So most people listen to this probably know football, but if you don't, it's the defense. 2 guys like standing there staring at the quarterback, essentially about 5 to 7 yards on the defensive side of the ball. And uh, there's a lot of traffic there. There's a lot of pass patterns that go in and
Yeah.
out of there. A lot of teams intentionally would use the umpire to, pick someone off. So the game's going on. It's a really great atmosphere, great game, tight game. And Oregon is down, I think, 4 with about 5-ish minutes to go in the fourth quarter driving, and they've got a 4th and 5. And I'm standing there getting ready for this play, and all I'm thinking is they need to get to where I'm standing. So I need to get forward. I need to move forward as soon as the ball snapped and get out of the way. That's all I'm thinking in my mind. Get off of this. I had to start at this 5-yard line. So this is where they need to get to. I'm like, this is the hot line. I got to get off this line, move forward. And I was so tunnel visioned on that idea that I wasn't aware of what was going on around me. So the ball snapped and I start to move forward. And as I did, one of the inside receivers for Oregon starts running right to where I'm moving up to. And he's being covered by a defender for Auburn who's in man coverage, who's right behind
Hmm.
him looking back at the quarterback. And I run right into the defender. And as a reaction, when you get hit, you protect yourself. I sort of shimmied my arm up a little bit and knocked the defender on the ground. The receiver was wide open, gained about 15 yards, and Oregon went and scored a touchdown to go up with just a couple minutes left in the game. And in that moment, it's literally the worst thing I could do at my position on the biggest stage in front of 26 million people, knowing that I'd already applied to the National Football League, knowing that they're scouting and watching us.
Oh.
In that moment, there's that thing in your head. I'm like, that's it. I just blew it. Everything's done. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, the game's still going, but I'm like, that's it. Like, NFL's going to look at this like, but the game was still going on. I still had to ref the rest of the national championship game, and it's down. We were under 3 point, 3 point, it's a 3 point game, and Auburn's got the ball, and they got Cam Newton, so I got to keep rolling. So I quick snapped out of that. I'm like, okay, I just got to, stay here, stay focused. And then Auburn got the ball back, and there's another play that people forget about sometime, where an Auburn running back went down and rolled over a defender and wasn't down, and it was right in front of me. And I'm looking at it going, he's not down in my head. He's not, I didn't blow my whistle. Thank God. I didn't call him down or say he's down because he wasn't. And he just takes
Hmm.
off running, and he ran, I don't know how many yards, a long way because everyone thought he was down. He wasn't. It was a fantastic decision by a couple of us on the field. and Auburn ended up kicking a field goal to win the game,
Yeah,
walk-off field goal. And so, like, you talk about hinge moments. I'm like, there's two huge hinge moments on the opposite side of the hinge, if that makes sense. It's like these tiny little moments in your life make these enormous differences. And I know when NFL scouts, anybody, players do this all the time. They for officiating, they look for things like the I got in the way on the fourth down play. They want to see what I do after that. They
that's
don't
right.
care that that happened. They do. They care way more to see what I did after that and to see, can you get your stuff together? Because it's a really tight game still, and make a call and a decision like luckily we made on the running back being down.
So in that moment when that happens, man, to snap yourself out of it, to refocus, like you're saying that mantra to yourself, like what did you do to go through those steps in order to, just get centered?
Yeah. You hear this about pro athletes and high performance people. This idea of like having a good short term memory or a bad
Hmm.
short term, they can let things go. And in the NFL, there's plays, they have the phrasing, play the next play. It's the next play because it's just over. Very difficult to do. And the way I looked at it then, I looked at it more as duty than anything else. Like I owe it to this. I care so much because of my deep emotional connection to football. I care about the game beyond what most people do. I think, it's not just, it's so much more than a game to me.
Hmm.
And I care about it so much that that was the motive to get recentered. I heard another phrase we used. We heard a person that came and worked with our officiating department that this is the phrase I use now. I didn't have this in the Auburn Oregon game. And the phrase is right here, right now. That's my
Hmm.
recentering phrase, right here, right now. You've heard that or know who said that. Yeah. Right here, right now. That's my thing. So now if I catch myself, replaying a play from, a series ago or something, or anything, you know how your brain goes sometimes. You're out there on the field, sometimes it pops in your head that, oh my God, I've got to clean out that closet downstairs that my wife told me about. Like, and it's the middle of an NFL game, like right here, right now, right here, right now. I got to come back to center. That's been really helpful for me.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. I appreciate you sharing it. So but then you responded, make a fantastic play, didn't, allowed the play to play out.
Yeah.
Um, and then did that end up being then the moment that they looked at and said, hey, we saw how you responded and
I don't think so. I don't think it's
okay.
that binary or myopic. I think they're
Yeah,
more body of work. But that's a trait I think that you'll see. Like, you see it in pro, you see it. There's a look. I always say, if I go to like a college basketball game, um, there's a look with the team that if they're down 20, there's just a look that comes over the team and the
sure.
coach sometimes. And you're like, they're done.
Right.
And sometimes maybe they should be done. It's like, okay. But the other times, I refereed the Michigan Appalachian State game, I think in
Oh yeah.
2007,
That was a good one.
where Appalachian State beat Michigan, one of the probably arguably the biggest upset in big time college football history. And so I've seen that. I've seen a team that's not scared of the Goliath and just stayed with it the whole game and put themselves in a position to win the game and did. And so I always think about that, the thing's not over till it's over. And, the players are going to decide when it's over and how it's over. Um, so it's more of a body of work thing, how
Yeah.
you do anything.
Yeah. When like talk to us about like so what are some of these mental reps and prep that you do
Mm,
referee and umpire wise and then especially like as a team, as a unit?
yeah. Um, I love talking about this. Coming up through the ranks when I had these goals written down and it took a minute, it took me 27 years from my first JV game I refed in 1988 till I got in the NFL on March 22nd, 2014, 11:48 a.m. Not that I remember that, but it's a good call to get.
Yeah,
And again, things I learned from my football coaches. We listened to this old speech from an old Illinois coach in the 30s, and we called it the proper state of mind. It's a poem, but this guy gave this big speech and then ended it with the poem, The Proper State of Mind, which is a really great poem for your listeners to go check out. Um, so we were kind of trained to visualize those sorts of things. So I would go out as I was in D3 and worked in the Mid-American Conference. and I would jog over to Butler University, which was about 2 miles from where I lived,
Okay.
at 6 in the morning, and I would work, a 35, 45, 50 minute mock game with no players and no football. Just me. I'd go to the 35-yard line, get ready down for the kickoff. I'd visualize the kickoff going. I'd run into the hash. I'd pretend I got my keys. I'd pretend to catch a ball from a ball boy. I'd go pretend to set it down. I'd signal first down. I boom, all the things.
Hmm.
And over and over and over to practice process. And that's a thing that I think a lot of people miss sometimes. They practice. I know you're big on the golf in the world, and I'm not big in the golf world, but it seems my friends that are, they're really good at that. There's so much routine and process that good golfers do, because you see, and you almost see it when you watch PGA. Certain golfers, you almost know their routine, their putting routine, how, and they do it the same every time. And it's that process more than it is the shot. That's the thing that makes them really, really good. That's my feeling. And so we do that. I'm constantly doing that. We do lots of work on film. Obviously, we can watch ourselves. The other thing we do, and I learned this, one of the most iconic referees ever is a guy named Jerry Markbright. If you put like a Mount Rushmore of referees, Jerry would be on the Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
And just a great human being, great teacher, great coach, great supporter of football and referee. And Jerry used to talk about everyone plans and visualizes success. He said
Right.
you should also visualize for catastrophe and picture yourself in catastrophe and how you handle really bad things to practice that, because anyone can call an easy false start, you know. But what happens when, there's a false start and then another guy hits another guy, and then next thing you know, and the coach runs out on the field? What do you do then?
Hmm.
Plan
Hmm.
for the catastrophe.
Yeah.
And I thought that's because people like, well, it's not, it's positive mental attitude and positive thinking. Like, let's practice when things go bad. If you're coaching a golfer, let's practice when he sprays one into the lake. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an
Exactly.
interesting thing. So we
Because
practice that too.
you have emotion then that's going to try and lead, and you can't be leading by emotion, right? Like that's the
Amen.
important part, man.
Amen. Got to stay calm and just like I try really hard to make my pulse and have my pulse have an inverted relationship to the pressure of the game or the time of the game. So if you put a heart monitor on me, I'd want my pulse to drop in the fourth quarter 2 minute drill, take away the running because I run, but just that whatever, I'm just like really quiet and centered in that 2 minute drill to see everything and really focus
Hmm.
um, like as much as humanly possible, because you're tired, it's emotional, all those things, and you really need to pull that forward.
Yeah. Talk to us, you shared with me one time, and I always remember this, but like, as an umpire, as a referee, like fishing outside of your pond.
Mm, yeah.
I was hoping you could kind of delve into that one, man.
Yeah, for sure. Football's there's debates about this, but I'm a football's the ultimate team sport thing, because when you start to think about, you've got linemen who have a physical ability, you've got receivers, you have quarterbacks, you have long snappers, holders, kickers, all with such different. There's not many sports that where there's that many different types of people coming together for one thing. Officiating is no different. We have spots on the field, and the field is so big, and there's so many things going on that we watch different areas. Everything is process oriented. So everything is mechanical in terms of where we stand and where we look. Then there's the broad part of this. And I think about this, I think about the three levels that I work with. I think about my vision first. So
Hmm.
am I looking where I'm supposed to be looking? That's kind of like the basic fundamental stuff. Then I move outside of that to my perspective. And now I'm thinking, okay, there's in the Oregon Auburn example, I only had vision. I was only focused on getting from the 5 yard line, past the line of scrimmage forward. That's all I was thinking. I didn't have perspective, which is I didn't look at the formation and go, oh, there's three receivers over there. And that inside guy just might run a route right towards me. I better take a peek or have a sense of him being there.
Hmm.
That's the perspective. And then I have my intuition. Then I feel things coming at me. And I try to use those things on the field. And so when you talk about fishing outside of your pond, I have a definite, this is where I look and this is my job. Then I have my perspective and my intuition that I can leverage and trust sometimes to see an action that may be outside of that. That's a foul that for whatever reason another person on my crew missed or couldn't see or whatever, or I can come save the crew on something totally outside of my thing, you know? And I think that's a skill you can develop over time.
Hmm.
We talk about your over time in football, the game slows and your vision can expand. You can see more things. It takes a while to get there though. And it's hard
In,
to do.
in, intuition, it's the
Mm.
gift of experience.
Ah, I like that. Yes. Yeah. It's hard to have without experience, isn't it?
Sure.
Right. For sure. Yes. You'll say that. We call roughing the passer. And my position, umpire, just started calling roughing the passer about 3 years ago. And so this has been something I've been working on. So I watch a lot of film. I talk to my peers who are head referees who've been calling it. Give me some tips. I've got some framework and process. High, low, late, punishing. Those are like the four things in my head. Was it high? Was
Hmm.
it low? Was it late? Was it punishing? So now I've got all this stuff. Then that happens so fast. I'm now to the point where I'm starting to trust my intuition now because I've
Hmm.
seen enough that I've called right and I've seen enough that I've missed and should have called and didn't. I've got the vision part is there. Now I've got enough of those where I can rely on intuition. And you
Nice.
watch this action and you go, you don't even, it's not like, oh, his, left corner of his thing hit. Like, no, it's just like, as a foul,
Yeah.
as roughing the passer and be
Yep.
right more than you're wrong.
Yeah.
I love it.
When the part that was fascinating me, I mean, is it okay to get specific with this, man? So like the brotherly shove, right? I mean the
Yeah.
tush push.
Yeah.
So it seems to be like a tough play to officiate.
Hmm.
Is that accurate on my part? Because for one, like I don't like changing the rules just because somebody's like really, really good at it and everybody else isn't good at it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not about that. But it just seems like that is a tough play to officiate.
Yeah. So and you're part of my answer, you're gonna feel like, okay, come on, dude. Every play is tough to officiate. Let's start there. This
Okay.
game is really hard to referee. It's really hard. These guys are really good. You see it every Sunday,
Yeah,
and
fair.
they're really good at playing the edge. They know, hold, let go. It's
Right.
almost hold, let go. They're so good at that. It's every play is really hard. So then you go, okay, every play is really hard. There are elements of plays that are harder based on situations. So the fact that we have a compressed line on that play makes it harder to see things than when they're spread out. It's compact. Past that, there really isn't much to, I mean, it's a rugby scrum. I mean, everyone goes forward and you run in and try to find the football. And that's all you do. It's actually that part of it is not difficult at all. It's that initial lineup and the timing of people that gets more difficult than others. Another, we don't have to do it as much anymore, but like onside kicks for me were so hard because they time them. Were they offsides or were they not? As they run toward the ball, and their timing is so precise. Um, Ineligibles downfield. These guys are so fast and their timing is so good. You're part of your brain goes, guys, passes thrown. The lineman's like 7 yards downfield. Like he had to be downfield. You go back in the film, he wasn't. He was full speed, exactly at the mark, at the precise time the ball was released, and he's so fast, it's deceiving.
Hmm.
So there's that kind of precision on all those plays. That play just has its own, like,
Yeah.
groupings of those things that make it tough.
How do you see the game changing? Because now, I mean, you have virtual measurement.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
what
Yeah.
other advances do you see coming?
Yeah, we've had a couple this year that are, very open about. So you've got the replay assist working now, which I think is great because I'll tell you this, and you know me well enough to know this, that no one is harder on us than us.
Hmm.
I promise you. And I'm speaking collectively for just about every official I've ever met. No one is harder on us than us. We are highly critical of ourselves, and that's not always a good thing in life, but that's just how the culture is. We're not going to locker room after the game, high five and like, dude, we nailed that thing. Well, did you see my call? We're not doing that. We're like, crap, I think I missed this. Did you see this? It's that. So we're always dwelling on the things that we screwed up. So that's cultural for us. It doesn't make anybody feel better, but that's how it is. So when we, throw a face mask foul for a guy that had him on the collar, because you're like, man, he had face, ooh, his neck went around. And you throw it, and then you go back and look at the film, and he didn't. We should fix that immediately. Immediately, we should fix that because it's wrong. And there's reasons why we got it wrong. So you're going to see that, things like that where we can use video and or replay assist to expedite something quickly. Um, and then yeah, the technology with the ball, everyone wants to put a chip in the ball and like have it measured. It's way more complicated than people realize because you have to have player knee down, anything but a hand or a foot. And so somehow you've got to have technology that measures that relative to where the ball is when that happens. And I'm not any sort of computer guy to figure that out. I'm sure it's not impossible, but I think that's coming. There's
Yeah.
another element though that I always wonder about. I was thinking about, it's funny you brought this up because I was just thinking about, I'm a big Indy 500. I'm a big Indy car guy, but the 500 for sure. Like,
Hmm.
the first race was in like 78. I've been going on and off ever since. There's technology now that could make driverless electric cars. And so we could line 33 cars up with no drivers and no remote controls. They're programmed to and watch them race. I think that would be really boring. I don't think people would enjoy that. I think people love the human side of all these things. And if we start refereeing games with computers only or video only, I think it removes an element of the passion and the emotion of the human, um, you know, the lack of perfection in humans. Um, that's just my take on that
Yeah.
in general. In general.
So, question for you, because I'm always curious
Yeah.
about this one. What are the calls that are non-reviewable? Because it always seems to happen, just as a fan, right? It always seems to
Yeah.
happen where if it's like, what do you mean that's not reviewable? Like I had no idea that wasn't. Like what are the
Yeah.
major ones, man?
Think of things, well, go the other direction with it. Think of things
Okay.
that are more binary, so if it's more binary, it's more reviewable. So did a player step on the line, yes or no?
Hmm.
Binary. If you have video evidence, you can see it and zoom in on it, right? Um, did the ball, hit the ground? Yes or no? Did it touch the ground?
Right.
Did the player step out of bounds? Those sort of things. The binary things are more reviewable. If we have clear, like if I call roughing the passer and I say, oh, he hit 95 hit the quarterback in the head, and you immediately show the replay and he missed his head by 8 inches. It's no doubt anyone's mind. It's clear. There's no debate. Most things that fall into that category are things that are less. You've seen this. We tried pass interference, didn't go
Hmm.
well. When you trade one person's judgment for another person's judgment, that's not a good trade off always. Even with a little technology to help, you're still in the human judgment to human judgment. And that's the part where if I show someone, I jokingly say if it passes the 50 guys in a bar test, if I show up, if I
Wait,
show up,
wait, say that again, Brian.
I
That
said,
was quick.
does it pass the 50 guys in a bar test? Could
Okay.
50 guys sitting in the bar when they show the replay go, oh, yeah, he stepped on the line right there? And all 50 guys who've been drinking beer, they go, yeah, he stepped on the line right there. That
Yeah.
should be reviewable, you know? But if you show a pass interference and, you got, half one team's fans, half the other, and you show it, they're like, no, it's not. Yeah, it is. No, it's not. We don't need to review that. That's part of the art. We got to leave that in the game because
Okay.
it's a never ending, and at its core, it's an entertainment business. Don't kid anybody. It's an entertainment business. It's an eyeball business. We want passion. People watch, tune in, and give them a good show. So
No, love it, man. And so the evaluation process when it comes to you guys evaluate it as a unit and then individually? How does that part work?
mostly individually. Yeah.
Okay.
So game. Yeah. Yeah. We get it's a pretty intense grading process. Lasts about kind of a 2 or 3 day kind of window, watching film, given, and then all those grades are then added up towards the end of the year. We get put into tiers of performance, just like a job. It's like a job. I mean, it is a job. It's not like a job. It is a job. Like anyone listening that works at a company, they might have, exceeds expectations, meets and below those sorts of things. We get a numerical score that pops out, and then we get put into tiers, and then that's how we get playoff games and keep our jobs too.
Yeah. No, love it, man.
Yeah.
And then what do you think's then the biggest lesson, life lesson, because we talked about it. What's the biggest life
Mm.
lesson, man, that you take from NFL umpiring into, real life?
Yeah, there's so many to grab one. I'm going to grab one though that is a hinge moment for me. Um, is the lesson of perspective. And that's it's a very cliche thing to say, but I'm gonna put it into some more definite context. You hear this all the time, and I've lived this. I had that dream. I had that note card written down to ref the Super Bowl. When was 19, I wrote down that I want to ref the Super Bowl when I was 51. I was 19. I had no idea how to do that. And the dream came true, and ref the Super Bowl was 52. I mean, right? It's crazy to think about that. How close I was on that thing. And after that Super Bowl game, I got on the bus, showered up, went back to my hotel. My family wasn't back yet. I was by myself,
Hmm.
and all my stuff's cluttered around the hotel room. And I got to check in for my flight, and I packed my stuff up, and I went home. And I landed in Indianapolis and went to the parking garage and got in my car, drove. It's like that
Yeah.
was it. And so you hear it so many times, the perspective like, oh, you got the Super, you got the thing. That's not it, man. It's not fulfilling. And,
Right.
and you can't, everyone says that, and like, oh, it just isn't. And so that perspective of this thing, I just am lucky enough to get to be involved in it and with it from someone who has a deep emotional connection to this game for a short window of time. And it's lived way before me. It's going to live way after me. It's so much bigger than me and us. Um, Damar Hamlin, who's a player who had an
Yeah.
incident where he died on the field, collapsed at my feet. And I saw his eyes roll back in his head. It was very uh, traumatic thing to see. If you ever seen someone revived before, who was gone, his heart stopped, and they thank God saved his life. That moment for me was my biggest hinge moment, where I'm like, this is so much more, and there's so many more important things than me getting upset about a call I missed or anything like that. Just these life lessons. So perspective for me is very deep with this whole game.
Hmm.
And I have to still remind myself of that, but it's a great gift. Great gift.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, man. Just so because we think in our mind, right, like the mountaintop moment, like that's all I want, right? Just get up on the mountaintop. But we have to come back off that mountaintop.
Yeah.
And like you said, right, it's like it's so it's the experience of it, right? It's like being a part of that experience that matters the
Yes.
most.
That's it. Yep. And the before and the after too. It's that all of it together. It's not the moment, so to speak. And then it's just gone. It go the and I think of I in my keynote speaking life, I meet people who have climbed Mount Everest, and they get up there and then it's miserable. It's
Yeah.
absolutely miserable. And you're standing up there and they're miserable and they're there for 10, 20 minutes and like, all right, let's get the hell out of here.
Hmm.
Like, and they got to climb back down and that's it. You know what I mean? And I just think of that but think of all the process that goes in, all the prep, and then all the after process too. That's what it's about, those experiences, those journeys, the up and the down, and then cataloging those. I'm a big fan of cataloging those stories though in your mind, so you don't lose them. I keep real strong mental pictures of. Sounds crazy. Uh, the walking out on the field for the Super Bowl and seeing my four kids who were teenagers at the time, still are late stage teenagers, not non-emotive kids like teenagers. They're jumping up and down in the stands. And I take my hat off. I'm jumping up. That moment is in my brain forever. My
Hmm.
deathbed, I'll be thinking about that. It's just a huge moment for me. Um, I think remembering and having a way to visually catalog those moments when your world, a hinge moment is really important so we don't lose them um, at a deep level.
Yeah. How do you when you talk about after, how do you like decompress, de-stress,
Mm.
catalog it? Like what's your process after games?
It's great. So there's the after games and there's after season that I
Okay.
like to talk
Yeah,
about too.
great.
So there's the after game is a lot of process stuff. It's we got to put a bunch of like paperwork together and watching film and I give myself until Wednesday for the look backward, and then the final grades come out, the numbers in the books Wednesday evening. That game is over, done, put away. Now we're on to the next week. Now we start looking at the teams and where we're headed the next week, both the logistics of travel and all that jazz, but also the teams and where they are and what they're doing and their tendencies and things like that. And that's a rinse repeat. It's very process oriented. I always tell people if you ever go to, and then when I was in the Big Ten, I used to ref. A lot of NFL teams have referees come to practice, their game prep practice, because they want to simulate, real situations. I say if you've ever been to a NFL practice, especially late in the season, it is so boring because they do the
Hmm.
same thing over and over and over. And you're like, this is it. I'm like, this is it, man. They do the same thing every day because they're chasing perfect. And
Right.
that's how you do that. So that's the kind of in season thing. It's a very rinse repeat road.
Yep.
Postseason, um, I saw a speaker give me a model in a peer group I'm in about a kind of a flow, and he talked about like when you have stress on the y-axis and productivity on the x-axis, or flipped either one. Um, and when your stress is moderate and your performance is high, it's peak performance time. Stress moderate, performance high. When you come off of that, where stress goes high, performance drops, that's your burnout phase. But then you move into this rust phase where your stress is low, and your performance is low. You're sort of just like, and so I hit rust phase about 2 weeks after the season, where
Okay.
I texted one of my referee buddies 2 weeks after the season, and I said, I I count my steps. I think I had like 980 steps that day, and I sat on the couch almost for 6 hours,
Hmm.
just dead, emotionally, mentally, everything. And so now I just am, I think in the past I used to fight through that, where I'd say, "Oh my God, I'm lazy. I got to get up and go." And that's part of my kind of part of my bad wiring. I've got to learn to just let that be. And my body needs that. My soul needs that. My mind needs that. It's okay to sit there. It's okay to sit there.
Hmm.
And that's become a new part of my postseason recovery, to give myself a little grace to
Yeah,
sit
that's a
there.
good one, man. Because being a high performer like yourself, like, but we don't like nothing rusts from one day to the next. I mean, that's a process, right?
That's
Like no,
true. Good point.
you know,
Yes. Yes. That's really good. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. So I don't sit there for 6 months on the couch.
sure.
Yes. Um, but there is this thing when you're running and charging hard that, you can lose sight of the perspective thing.
Hmm.
Whether it's my health or my relationships or something, I've got to take inventory of those things and go, you know what? This is it's not healthy where it is.
So in your keynote speaking, I mean, one of your talks, the joy of being yelled at.
Yeah. That's a life lesson. That's good. My little phrase I use, I love people and I love to connect with people. Um, and I'm working on it, but I don't like when people don't like me. Just don't. I don't mind conflict at all. Um, but I don't like when people carry it past that. I'm like, I just don't like that guy.
Hmm.
I want to just be someone that like lifts people up. And you have to, and I don't have to be like the tip top, oh, he's the greatest guy I ever met. Not that, but just like being around that guy. It's good. It makes me feel good. That
Yeah.
kind of energy. And then I go into refereeing. As soon as you put the shirt on, everyone hates you. Everyone. And I'm like, what is this about? And I'm self psychoanalyzing myself. But there's something about the test of putting that shirt on and performing in a way, and still people like, guy's good. I'll take you, pissed me off a couple times in the game, but he's good. I'll take it. So I say they're yelling at the shirt, they're not yelling at me.
Hmm.
Try to move that. I'm in that role. And I think that's a good perspective switch for people sometimes to think about in your job or your relationship with your spouse. Sometimes they're not mad at what we think they're mad at. There's something deeper than that, and that's been really helpful for me to say, you know what, they're mad at this shirt. I worked a college game at Iowa, and after the game, I went to this little restaurant. There's one guy sitting at the bar, and the bartender, and they're talking, and I was just sitting at a table off to the side, and they're bitching about the refs and I just worked the game.
Yep.
And so I didn't say who I was. I had a suit on. I didn't know. I'm like, what happened? They're like, this. I'm like, okay. I didn't say, so I start talking to him. I didn't say anything about me, what I did. And then I'm like, all right, I'll go grab my flight. Like, all right, have a good day, buddy. See you later. And I'm like, they don't know who I am. It's great.
Yeah.
If they had
Yeah.
told them, they would have been mad at me. So it's just funny. It's just funny.
It's from an NFL coaching perspective. Like, with MLB umpires now, like a big process of what their training is handling managers.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
again, a baseball is a little bit different because there's not a lot of hard sidelines there, but like there's a tact that good NFL coaches take when it comes to the
Mm,
umpires and the communication. Don't you agree?
100%. Yeah. I liked, we all are doing this for, on one hand, our own reason, but in the grand scheme, it's all for the same thing. We were in a competitive environment with a game that we love, and everybody wants to perform well. And at the end, there's a winner and a loser. And for whatever reason, whoever's involved with that, we love that. I love that. They love that. And we want the same thing. I want players to be safe, number one. They want players to be safe. So do the players. I hope the fans do too. And they want the game to be played clean and fair. That's it. And they do too, and I do too. So we all want the same thing. I think we forget that sometimes. We're all
Right.
after the exact same end outcome. And all of us make mistakes toward the end outcome. Every single human involved in that game does. And so we're just all trying to minimize our mistakes. That's what we're doing. So we're all doing the same thing. So we look at it that way, and they're upset with something. I know why they're upset, because they're also upset at their, maybe the receiver or their offensive line coach, and they're upset with me too. And I'm upset with me too, or whatever. It's like that. So just think of it that way. And once you get that in your head, those interactions change a bit. You actually have it sounds almost weird to say, you have an empathy for them when they're upset, because you understand what's at stake here, and you understand what you signed up for. Now, I'm absolutely no perfection guy at this. I've got I get wound up and I lose my stuff, and it happens. But I have to reflect on that part of the game evaluation. How could I have handled that conversation differently? Apologize when I need to apologize if I was wrong, which I'll do absolutely without question. If I, make a mistake or say something I shouldn't have said, I'll say sorry and move on.
And is that like a call too? Like if you know you missed one, like
I if not, I would never let a call stand that I know I missed. I would always
sure,
correct that in the moment. Now there's going to be a debate after that.
right.
And then the end. So the little phrase we have, I say to some people, is don't wrestle with a pig in the mud, because sooner or later you realize the pig likes it. I just don't argue. At some point, we're going to both watch the film, and I'm going to get graded, and I'm going to be right or wrong, or you're going to be right or wrong. And then the argument's basically over.
Hmm.
Um, and the game is so complicated. They really don't have time to harp on us. They have so many things going on. They don't want to talk to us.
Right.
The play sheets are, like like a phone book. It's, we don't have those anymore, but it's like so complicated. They don't want to mess with us. So,
Yeah. No, good point, man. Um, I mean, your podcast, man, you've been running that. Geez, I mean, over 18 years. Is it over 20 years now?
it'll be 19 years coming up. I think October 6th might have been our
You
first
and Bill.
episode. I think me and Bill Caskey. Yeah, the Advanced
Yeah,
Selling
I know
Podcast.
Bill.
It is. Of course you do. I know he knows
Yeah,
you
yeah, Bill's a good dude,
for
man.
sure. Yeah. Um,
It,
we love it. We love it.
so when was that moment where we realized, like, hey, we're not only producing main value here,
Yeah.
but we can also generate a business from this?
Yes. Um, I'm fact checking myself. October 24th, 2006 was episode one. Um, well, Bill and I were both radio geeks in high school and college. So I was in a Boy Scout Explorers troop at our local radio station in Newburgh, Indiana. We got to go and do production and be on the air, and I loved it. Bill majored in TV radio at DePaul University. We started working together, and we got a chance to have a radio show here in Indianapolis on 1430 WXNT, which is now mostly a sports show, but it was a news station back then. And we were on noon to one Saturdays, which, if you look at Nielsen ratings, noon to one Saturday time slot on radio is the lowest listened to hour of the entire 7 days, 24. No
Okay.
one listens to radio. They're like, you guys can have it. Go ahead. No one's listening. I'm like, all right, sweet. So we did that for a while. We loved it. It's called Business 360 Business Show. We loved it. We just had fun doing it. I was rough in college football then. So Bill would have to carry the show basically the whole fall. And it just got to be a grind for him. It just wasn't clicking. At the time, um, podcasting was just in its early infancy stage. And Bill
Right.
came to me one day and said, have you heard of this thing called podcasting? I'm like, no. Because it's basically a radio show for an iPod. This is back in the old days of iPods. He goes, yeah, you basically just record it and convert it to a digital MP4, MP3, and then you upload it and people can listen to it. And it's real buzzy in Australia and England. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. Let's try it. So we bought a couple microphones and sat in the office and just started recording shows. And, people started emailing us, and mostly podcast blew up outside the US before it blew up in the US. So we
Hmm.
started to get people from like all these places. Here's where it hit me. This is the hinge moment. We put a little LinkedIn group together. So we got, maybe, I don't know, 800 people in this LinkedIn group. And I had a business trip that I was going to London to England. And I went down, I emailed every person in that group that listened to our podcast in this LinkedIn group we had and said, hey, I'm going to be at the Intercontinental Hotel at Heathrow Airport at 6 o'clock on Thursday. I'll buy the first beer. That was my thing. Like, okie dokie. Like 16 people showed up.
Nice.
I'm like, from one email. And I'm in England at London at Heathrow. I'm like, what? And then it was weird. Here was the weird part then. It was like, they're like, I can't believe I'm meeting you to me. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, I'm B. Neal, man. I'm like, but I'm like, wow, this is a thing, the voice that you have. And it was wild. And that's when I'm like, this is something. And then
Yeah.
this is a great little lesson for listeners. Everyone wants to know the secret to podcasting. There's two secrets, and they're magic BBs. The first secret is start, and the second secret is never stop. That's it. If you do those two things, podcasts will be a favorable thing in your life. I guarantee it.
Hmm.
Just start and then don't stop
Yeah.
for sure.
The key to life there, man.
That's it, right? It's pretty
Yeah.
straightforward.
Game of attrition.
That's right.
What, with your audience though, you've had, I mean, so much interaction with them, and then I know like your funnel from there into actual coaching, but like what's their main pain point that you've come across?
Um, I think it's the evolution now, especially now. Um, it's the evolution of all things. The acceleration of innovation is the thing. Because all of a sudden, we've got AI agents that can do all sorts of things that salespeople couldn't do. And now people used to not even know what LinkedIn was, and now it can be the primary way to find, people and interactions and relationships. So I think that accelerated innovation part
Mm,
is people want to make sure they're staying at the front edge. I think that's one of things that Bill and I do and like to do is we like to go find things and bring them to people before, like that, like having a podcast. Like we've been talking to salespeople. You should have a podcast if you're a salesperson. And we're just now starting to get listeners like, hey, I did a whole little thing. I had two or three of my clients that just released their first episodes. I'm like, you go, good. I gave a speech a couple weeks ago. I gave away some podcasting equipment in my speech. I said, first hit, man, just start, get the equipment. Here, I bought it
hmm.
for you. I gave someone a present on stage. So and their pain point is people listen because it's an easy, on-demand way to find things that can help them in their life. For salespeople, that to me is about what's next. I don't want to be irrelevant here. I want to make sure I stay on the front edge of things.
Yeah. No, I love that, man.
Yeah,
And with that, Brian, let me one more question, man. Like
good.
if you had to boil mental toughness down, man, to like one principle that you think applies universally, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
ubiquitous. Like what
Mm-hmm.
would you say, man, that principle would be?
I'm gonna tell you the first thing that popped in my head:
Hmm.
acceptance.
Yeah.
Acceptance. I have to, as a high performance athlete person, accept all things. I have to accept success. I have to accept failure. I have to accept pain. I have to accept healing. I have to accept training. I have to accept my body changing as I age. If I can accept those things, I think I can really stay in a high performance world. If I move against those things or repel them or fight them, I think it's wasted energy.
So acceptance is the key to all my problems today. Like give me an example. How does that manifest then in your life where because people that are hearing it are going to be like, yeah, of course. I mean, acceptance to be able to move on. But like how does that apply? Like what's an example for you?
Yeah. I mean, it's the biggest and the smallest things. One of my dear friends, a guy who was in my first wedding, And his dad was a mentor of mine, a second father figure to me, passed away. I'm going to a celebration of life next week. And I got to thinking about that and I thought, man, his name is Tom. I said, when Tom was like mentoring us when we were coming up through refereeing, he was 54, 55. I'm 54, 55. He just died. And it seemed like I blinked. I have to accept that I'm on the back nine. I have to accept that. Um, my daughter got rear-ended. I told you that this morning on her way to work. She's like visualizing, oh, I'm gonna have a great Monday, whatever, and everything. And then she got rear-ended. We'd have to accept that. We just have to accept. My sister just had a brain tumor removed 3 weeks ago, and she is. I wouldn't put. She's not like a high performance athlete. She has been so inspiring to me of just accepting her circumstance and like, yeah, and so positive about, and not positive like, oh, everything's fine. Like, no, it sucks, but she can accept it and be that. So it's
Yeah.
those. I always think people understand acceptance, but the question is, do they practice it, and then
Right.
how do they practice it? How do they practice it? And for me, depending upon what it is, it could take a lot of work.
Yeah, because I mean, you can easily just get stuck, right? Like, especially the two types of problems: problems that are caused by me,
Mm,
and then there are problems that are done to me.
that's great. Yes.
And sometimes those things that are, back to officiating, right? Like we want something that's fair. That's the beauty about sports. That's the thing I love about it,
Yep.
is there's so much ambiguity in life that, there's just so much gray in it. With the sports aspect, I think that's what people get away from. With sports, that's the one thing that we like, is there is a winner and there's a loser, and you catch
Yes.
the ball or you didn't catch the ball.
That's it. That's literally it.
So when things are done to us, though, there's like this that was unfair.
Yes. Yeah.
And it seems to be like with the acceptance piece, that seems to be where people can get stuck, me included.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, I know I love the saying there's a book by Richard Bach called Illusions. He says, I don't know if he's the only one that said it, but we teach best what we most need to learn. I love that concept. We teach best what we most need to learn. And that's definitely a thing for me, is to accept life on life's terms and like, okay, this is the thing. This is the thing.
Yeah.
And it's also, there's a logic part to it. Like, it's done. It's like
Yeah.
you can't have done something and undone something that happened already. You can't.
Right.
You can only do something forward or now.
Bryan, what question, man, that I'm missing that I haven't asked?
Um, I'm always interested in what happens after you achieve a big goal. And I'd love
Hmm.
your take on this one because I want to tell you my experience, but you as a sports psychologist, someone that works with a lot of high performing people, and you get PhD in it and study it. One thing I noticed after I worked the Super Bowl is I didn't have anything after that, and I blew in the wind the next season. I'm telling you, I blew in the wind. I just didn't. It just felt funny. And I've readjusted that. But how do you coach someone, and what do you do after they hit that big goal? So the person that climbs Mount Everest, they did that thing. That's a big hole now. They've been
Yeah.
working on that for months and months and months. Or I boom them. I win my first tour, championship on my first green jacket. And then what? You know? So how do you coach people past the success of the thing? That's always interesting to me.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm kind of going through it right now, man. Like,
Mm,
I had an ultra marathon. The goal was 150 miles, but stabbing pain like in my foot about mile 60. So I was able to make it to 100. And at mile 80, I'm just like, look, we got to reevaluate the goal. I mean, this is killing me. Like, there's a lot of pain, but it wasn't anything we ever prepped for. So there was,
ah,
but after, there's so many details. There's so much preparation goes into it, and then me being me, like, the family was a big part of this, and like, I don't want to stress them out, but there's just, you always want to take care of all the details that you can. And
mm,
so after that, like I did what you were kind of talking about. I mean, I allowed myself this past week to de-stress, decompress,
mm,
evaluate, and then it's um, you know, you you pick another mountaintop.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
mean, you pick another goal, you
mm-hmm,
pick something else that's going to be energizing to you that you want to put forth your effort and energy into it. Because yeah, man, like Everest, right, takes weeks of actual climbing, man. A lot of scratch and you're up at the top for a matter of moments, man. You got to come back
Yeah.
down.
Yep. Yep. And I love the engaging in a new process that fulfills you.
Hmm.
That to me is the next thing, more than the next like big goal. Like, oh, I want to referee 4 Super Bowls. Like, I want to put myself into some sort of process that
Right.
moves my, energy level up internally. It's good.
And that's a piece too, where especially after that, like, um, how can we stay consistent? Because consistency is the hallmark of greatness.
Mm,
And are there other areas still in your life where you just have to keep being consistent?
yeah, it's
That's the part
awesome.
I look at. I mean, nobody wants somebody that's going to show up and it's great one day and horrible the next.
Right, right. Absolutely.
So it's like, man, how can we stay consistent? And in the older I get, man, it's just, man, the level of details, right? Like
Yes,
level of details.
yes. And those details matter so much at scale, the
And
little
I'm not
ones,
a
don't they?
details guy,
Right. Same,
you know?
same here. Same here. That's amazing. 100 miles. You ran 100 miles.
And here's the thing though, Brian, it was like everyone was like, and it was 100 miles in 24 hours. Everyone was like, man, wait, like great job. Part of me was, it was sad. I was disappointed because that wasn't the goal, man.
Right,
That
right.
wasn't the goal. And so I needed coaching. I needed to talk to people and they said, look, man, you can't be, if you can't be happy with the race you planned, be happy with the race that you did.
Okay. I like that. I
And
like that. Yeah.
I was wondering, man, I was like, why is there emptiness here? Like I understand the
Yeah.
mountaintop, but why is there
Yeah.
emptiness?
Yeah.
And part was is like, well, the goal wasn't reached, man. Like at no
Yeah.
point did I ever consider you're gonna have stabbing pain in your foot
Right. Right.
and not be
Right.
able to. A couple factors went into it, and it's just,
At
we
mile 80. That's not too many people get to say that, Rob. Not too many
yeah,
people say, well, I was at mile 80 and I got this stabbing pain in my foot. That's interesting. That's great.
but that's the one thing, man. I'm good at is just keep going, right? Like,
I love
yeah,
it.
there were people that dropped at 85, and
Yes.
no way was I gonna not
See you
at least
there.
hit something.
There you go. 100 miles. It's
I'm glad we got to
unbelievable.
do this though, man.
It's awesome, dude. Appreciate
Yeah,
you having me on.
absolutely, Brian. Thank you so much, man, and just really appreciate you.
Appreciate you too, bro.